Welcome back. So we will continue today with the state management and we will be discussing cookies. So cookies are small text files that are stored on client machines. What happens is the following. The first time you open a certain website, you send a request to the server. The server will create a cookie, this small text file, and send this cookie with the response, and this cookie will be stored on your machine, on the client machine, so that the next time you send a request to the server or the next time you open the page again, then the client will check if any cookie exists. It will send the cookie with the request, and the server will be able to process the cookie, generate whatever information is stored in the cookie, and send this information back with the response. So for example, if we would like to store the username, so that the next time we open the page, then the username will be there. We can use that with the help of cookies. Good, so to do so, I will be using the same login web form we used last time with the view state. I did not change anything in the form except adding this delete cookie button, which we will discuss later. So let's go to the code. Remember last time we were using the view state where we monitored the invalid login account, and this will run if the user enters invalid credentials. And if the user enters valid credentials, we directed the user to a second page. What we would like to do now is we would like to create a cookie, store it. This will happen only the first time we open this website, and so that the next time we will read the cookie. Okay, so what we need to do, we have to check if the cookie is not null. To do so, we will go to the request.cookies, and let's say we will name our cookie username cookie. So if our cookie is null, so this will be the case the first time we open this website. What we want to do, we want to create a cookie, and in order to create a cookie we will do it this way: HTTP cookie, let's call it username, username equals new, and then HTTP cookie, and you give your cookie a name, and this will be the same here. So Control C and Control V. Okay, so cookies are stored on your client machine, but cookies, they have a certain expiry date, and this we can set. So whenever you create a cookie, this is the cookie object that we created, we will store a value in that cookie. We can store, by the way, one value, or we can store multiple values, so this would be treated like an array of values. So you store whatever you like in the cookie, and you set the expiry date for the cookie. So this is our cookie. Let's store the username. So to do so, we can say username, and this is our cookie dot value. So this will allow you to store one value only, and this is a string, or you can use values, and this will be treated as an array of values. So today we will be storing only one, so dot value equal, this will be our username, so this will be username txt dot text. Okay, so we have the username. Now we need to set the expiry date for the cookie. Okay, so to set the expiry date, we simply call the cookie dot, we have a property called expires, and then we equals, this will be the datetime dot now, and let's say we will give the user 1 day, or the cookie 1 day, and after 1 day this cookie will expire. So after you do so, you remember we said the server, which we are here at the moment, will create the cookie. Okay, this is the first time, and we are storing the data in the cookie, and now it's time to send the cookie back to the client so that the client can store it on their machine. So response, this will be our response to the server, to the client, response.cookies, again .add, and we will add our cookie, which is the username. Alright, that's it. So now we have our cookie. And as I said, this will be created only one time when the cookie is null or when the cookie has expired. Good. So what we want to do, we want to check when we open the page if the cookie exists. So if this cookie exists, we will load the username in the text box. And the correct place to do so is here. Remember we talked last time about is post back. So if not post back means the first time we send the request, the first time we open the page. So we can, here, we can check for the existence of the cookie. Again, to check, we can simply copy this if statement. Let's say check if cookie exists. So Control V, but instead of checking for null, we will check if the cookie is not null. So if the cookie is not null, what we would like to do, we would like to set the username, set the username text. So yeah, our text box is username txt.text. This will be our cookie. So, and to get the value, we have a property called value. So the same way we stored the cookie by accessing the value property, we can retrieve the cookie by accessing the same property. Okay, so what will happen now? Whenever we open the page, it will check if the cookie exists. The first time the cookie does not exist, so nothing will be loaded. And when we click on the login button the first time also, this will be null, so it means we will create the cookie and we will store it. Let's check if this is working fine with us. Okay, so run. Alright, so this is our login page. As expected, nothing is there. So if you remember, our username and password are admin, and when we log in, we will be redirected to this registration form. Good. So let's close this and let's go and check if our cookie is created or not as we requested. So if you go to Internet Explorer and you go Tools, Internet Options, this is the easiest way to check cookies. You remember the browsing history, then go to Settings. We have the temporary internet files, and this is the location where they are stored on your machine. So if you want to view files, go here. Good, and check or sort them according to the last modified date. So if you see the cookie here, let's do this again. Okay, so you can change the view. I would like to see all the properties, then the last modified, let's sort according to the last modified date, and we have one that is created recently, so this will be the cookie. This is my name and this is the local host, so cookie Imad Rahman. So if I open this, it's a simple text file, so if we open this, then we will see this is our cookie, username cookie, and this is the value that we store. Good, so we have the cookie stored now. Let's check what will happen when we run again. So Control F5. We expect to see the username there, so this is our username. So how did this happen? This happens here. So when we load the page, and for the first time we checked if the cookie is not null, if the cookie exists. So if the cookie exists, then we are loading the username text box. Alright, so as you can see, few simple steps, then you have a cookie stored on your client machine. Good. So now you can go ahead and add the delete cookie button. And what we would like to do now is the following. We would like to simply delete the cookie we just created. To delete the cookie, it's a very simple code, tricky code. What we need to do is simply go to the expiry property of the cookie, and instead of adding 1 day, we have to set the expiry day to a time in the past. So for example, we can add -1 days. So this will immediately delete the cookie. Good. Again, we need to check for the existence of the cookie. So we can simply copy this, Control C, and Control V. Okay, so if the cookie exists, we would like to retrieve the cookie. So HTTP cookie, remember, let's call it username equal, this is our cookie, Control C, Control V. Good. So we retrieved the cookie, set the expiry day to a date in the past. So we access the expiry date dot expires equal datetime dot now dot add, instead of adding 1 day, we will add -1 days. Good. And we have to send the cookie back, and exactly like we did here, we Control C and Control V. So we add the cookie to the response object. Good. So let's see. Control F5. Alright, so we have the cookie. Okay, let's hit delete, close, run again, and there you go, we have nothing. And if we want to confirm, we can open Internet Explorer again, go to Tools, Tools, Internet Options, Browsing History, Settings, View Files. Okay, let's change the view again, check for the last modified date, and we have nothing. So the cookie is deleted. Alright, so what you can do now, you can practice adding multiple values. So as we said, instead of calling the value property, then you can access the values property. Let me show you quickly how you can do this, and you can practice it. So let's say we want to add another value, username dot values, dot values. Okay, so you give your value a key. Let's say username and equal, for example, this one, Control C, Control V. Maybe you want to store username dot values. Maybe you would like to store the time, equal, maybe datetime dot now dot to we have short date string. Alright, so you have we have added a couple of values. Let's see what's going on here. Cannot convert from string into integer. Username dot, we missed this, so username dot values. Alright, so now instead of adding one value, we are adding two values. So accessing them would be exactly the same. Instead of accessing it this way, dot value, then you would need to give values, and so username values, and then you give for example, what is the name of the value we are looking for. So this would be this one. Okay, so as I said, you can practice this here in the login page, or even better, you can go to the default page. This is our registration form page, and maybe create a label here at the top, and simply display the username. So you will see that cookies will allow us to access values in multiple web pages, unlike the view state. So I will leave this for you. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon.